Okay. You want to tell, this is Flossie, your great-grandma. Okay. He's going to ask you some questions about when you were 5 years old.
Oh.
Remember the first one? When were you?
When were you 5?
1936.
Do you know how long ago that is?
No.
That's 80 years ago? 79? Holy moly. Okay, and then what was life like when you were in kindergarten?
What was
Tell her.
What was
Life like.
life like in kindergarten?
Well, when I was in kindergarten, the first thing I had to do was walk from my house 2 miles through the woods to get to school. And I was lucky because I lived right next door to my bigger, older cousins. And so I walked to school with them. And we walked to school every day and walked home every day.
Hey, you walk about a half mile every day to school, so hers was a little longer. Where did you live when you were 5?
Where did you live when you were 5?
When I was 5, I lived out in the country. And we lived in a little log cabin house.
What state was it in? What state? Or what town was it close to?
I don't
What town was it close to?
It was close to Troy, Missouri.
Okay. What did you do for fun?
What did you do for fun?
Well, my dad was a farmer. He was farming, and we used to ride on the tractor with him, or we rode the horses that he had do some work with, and we had an old cow that would lay out in our by the barn, and when my sister and I would go out there, that old cow would let us climb on her back, and she'd get up and walk us around.
They get piggybacks from an old cow. How is your life as a 5-year-old different from mine?
Our your
Life
life
as a 5-year-old?
a 5-year-old like mine.
Different than mine.
Different than mine.
Well, probably because of the fact that I lived on the farm, and I would have to go out of a morning and get some eggs from where we raised chickens, and they had one big old red rooster that every time I'd go out there to get eggs, that rooster would bite me. And when we would go down and watch my dad milk cows, he would take and squirt milk in our mouths from where he was milking the cows.
Straight from the cow?
Uh-huh. And we had, well, I don't know if this may sound silly, but we had, one day we was going through the woods, we had to walk through the woods to get our mail from the mailbox, and I don't know whether you ever heard of a green snake, and I was walking along and I was hitting the leaves on the tree, and my mom told me to stop, and I wore bib overalls back then. You know what bib overalls are? And I hit the leaf on that limb on that one tree, and you couldn't see them up in the trees because they were green and they were in with the leaves and stuff, and you couldn't see them. And when I hit that limb, he jumped out of the tree and he fell down my bib overalls and scared the heck out of me.
She has a snake in her pants.
Yes, I did. And I got rid of those pants. Mom said, I didn't know you could get out of those pants so fast. But I had to do a lot of different things when we had to go to the, drive to town and buy groceries and come home, and we didn't have any sidewalks to walk on, and
Yeah. Was there tractors on the farm, or did the horses do all the work?
the horses did all the work for my dad. He didn't have a tractor back then. He just had horses, and they pulled plows, and they pulled disc and stuff like that we farmed in.
Do you think she had TV when she was 5 years old?
No. And we lived in a log house. It was made out of logs. And my grandfather had built that house, and we lived in his house.
Cool. You want to ask one more?
Last one.
What was something you did to be a risk taker?
What was something you did to be a risk taker?
Well, I tell you, I told you we lived on a hill, and the neighbor, we had a neighbor that his cows kept getting out. And we lived out in the country, so his cows would come from his house over, sometimes they would come into our yard, or over into our property, and they were dangerous cows. They would chase you. And when we went out for walks, and my sister was littler than I was, and I had to pull her in a little red wagon when we were out walking with my cousins. And one day we were out there and all walking, and somebody yelled, "Here comes the cows!" And I dropped the thing, and her wagon run down behind me, and we ran up the hill to get in the yard so the cows couldn't get to us. And my mom saw that I'd left her down by the creek, so she made me go back down there and get her. So staying away from those cows was very risky, but I did that.
To save her sister from the... Say, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I hope I did the right things.
Cool.
Didn't know you was gonna hear all that stuff, did you?